West Coast, is, well, I was sharing with the entrepreneur here, whose vision we celebrate, that when about 1995, 96, when I was looking at what business to build or start or buy, then somebody told me that I had to get in the top drive business because there was a 24-month backlog by what was then Barco. And I couldn't find a critical mass, so later on just went in the drilling rig business. But it's great to be around a manufacturing facility.
Never too late.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you don't want a competitor there. It's great to be around an American manufacturing facility, isn't it? You should have pride, everybody who works here. Third, I wanted to see Tony Lawrence. If you want to know what a public servant is, Tony Lawrence. And I was telling you know, I was had always been for term limits, I got to say, for, you know, some of the positions. And incidentally, I'm for term limits for governor right now, which people can enforce without a constitutional amendment, exercising their right at the polls. But if there's somebody who I can think of would be an example against term limits, it is Tony Lawrence, who never forgot the people that she served. And I've told this story many times, that usually when Tony and I disagreed, then my staff would know to talk to Tony because the odds are that I was wrong. And she brought me along, and vice versa. And I got to say that we need more of that in politics these days. And finally, I just love this portion of the city. When I moved to town, everybody said, hey, buy a house, build up net worth. Now, this was in the 70s when house prices were going up by about 15% a year. And so I bought a little house, $40,000 house, $2,000 payment in Inwood North, up Antoine. And then when I saved more money, we bought a house, another house on Inwood, in Inwood Forest. Attended my first Civic Club meeting there, where they were talking about why any day, and this would have been 1981, that any year now the Corps of Engineers is going to do something about drainage in Inwood Forest. Seriously. And then what I don't even think I ever told Tony is that I first, you know, now there's some members, I love Unity Church, I've been there. It's a great church. We have some members of my church, St. Luke's United Methodist. But when I moved to town, I joined a church and taught in the Sunday school at St. Timothy's United Methodist, which is right off Roslyn, not far from where we are. And the pastor there at the time married Andrew and I. It'll be 25 years this year within the month. So this is really where home was in Northwest Houston. I've enjoyed serving you as mayor. I think you want to do this in question and answer format. I'll say two things that I will commit to you to do. First, we will run state government as best I can like a well-run customer service business rather than as a political machine. Wouldn't that be an improvement?
Yes.
We need to do that in this state. That means doing whatever we can to lower unit costs, meet the customer's need, listening to customers what they want. Who told me that they'd been helped twice by SafeClear within the last month? Who told me that? Okay? One thing that I heard is how frustrated people were of a bunch of tow trucks backing up, all that rubbernecking because of what Tony and I did. Just even 4 years, 5 years after SafeClear, there was a 20% reduction in accidents. And I can tell you, at a place anybody has to fight, 290, 610 intersection, knows the importance of being able to reduce traffic, doing things that are practical that the customers want. The second commitment, and by the way, it will also mean that one of the first things I'll do in the budget is tell the taxpayers of this state what we project the revenues and expenses of the state to be every month. The current governor refuses to do that. Probably doesn't even have projections. But in meetings in my office, many of which Tony attended, we'll go over actual budget variance reports every month with explanation of variances and looking at productivity improvements every day. And one reason that Tony and I left the city in the best financial shape of any big city in the United States of America was in October 2008, when we saw the recession coming. We began cutting capital expenditures and other things in the budget before any revenues that were going down, or before anyone in state leadership told the citizens that when we have a global recession, we will be affected. That's the kind of leadership I provide to state government. The second commitment is we'd work hard every day to improve the education of the young people of this country. We need to do that. He says he has a question, so I won't give the answer. But I'll tell you this, let me be a witness. There's somebody at a forum we had wasn't just like this, but it was in a Rotary Club format in Denison, Texas. The president of the Denison School Board, who hadn't ever voted in the same primary I have, and he told me who he was voting for. It's the first time in his life he's voting for a Democrat for governor. Runs a manufacturing operation in Denison. And he's president of the school board. And he was so frustrated at the top-down mandates and regulation coming out of Austin on curriculum that they could not have the technical and vocational programs they need in those schools to train people for high-wage, skilled jobs. And that he, in his own plan, was having a hard time, because he's not a big business, so he doesn't have a big HR department, training workers who had the vocational and technical skills that the workers that he hired 15 years ago had. And this country is all about giving people more opportunities, not less. About competing to win in the world economy, not saying that we give up on skilled workers in this country. And I will commit to you, every day I show up at work, not in that fancy mansion, but in the double-wide trailer that Andrea and I are going to move into when we get elected, we will work to make sure that more Texans have the training and skills to work in manufacturing operations, work in window companies and installation, and work in the blue-collar jobs that we need for America's future. Thank you very much.